everyone, welcome to another riveting episode of Was That in Good Taste? I'm one of your hosts, and my name happens to be Chandler Phillips. And with me, as always, is another one of your hosts,
James Beery.
And today we have a fantastic episode that really delves into a lot of the media circulating around the customer service industry, the food service industry, and why television, Hollywood just really likes to make the people who work in those industries look sexy as hell. It's the
Or like fucking clowns.
Or sexy clowns.
Or love a sexy clown. We don't have sexy clowns here, but we do have
Chandler Phillips. We also have a really fun cocktail.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
subscribe.
Okay. Call to action. Super important. You know why? Because you're important. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do any of the things that we do. Okay, Chandler. So we have here a delicious cocktail. And this is super amazing, super awesome. We were looking, before we came into the studio, we were like, hey, what should we be drinking? Instead of planning.
We kind of fired from the hip.
We did everything but plan.
We did a little bit of cocktail jazz.
And we used the internet. And what was it that we found?
So
What was the idea, and what did we do?
This foundation comes courtesy of Cocktail Flow, who ripped it from Death & Co. Modern Classic Cocktails, which is a book based on and developed by The Bar in I want to say the Lower East Side, maybe Soho, somewhere
In New York.
In New York.
You don't live here, so it's all the same to you.
But it's a bar. It's a very, very pristine classic cocktail. Inventive cocktail.
Very inventive.
Very inventive. Cutting edge cocktails. And so we took their cocktails and we cut the cutting edge on it. We even cut it edgier.
Yeah, we took the time, the effort, the consideration, the passion,
The ingredients we had on hand.
the technique, and we threw it out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We used what we had on hand,
Exactly.
and we created, what is this called here?
So this is the Mikado.
The Mikado.
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 And the typical recipe for it says to do 1.5 ounces of brandy,
Mm-hmm.
0.5 ounces of Cointreau,
Hot.
0.25 ounces of Amaretto, 1 teaspoon of grenadine, and 1 dash of Angostura bitters.
Ooh, I did 2 dashes. Leave me alone.
Now, I agree. I go a little heavy on the bitters in most of my endeavors. And we did a little mix up because we didn't have Amaretto on hand, and we didn't want to just use any brandy. So instead, we used the it's the Pierre.
Yeah, the ombre, the Pierre Ferrot. Oh my God.
I think it's Pierre Bertrand. Fertrand. We talked about it in another episode.
Listen,
just go look at it. We already talked about it.
We already talked about it.
We can't remember all of these
But
words.
not on video.
We might have.
Oh, we did do it on video.
It was
We did.
recent. It's one of the recent ones. You don't even have to go back that far to look.
Yeah. Anyway, that.
So we used a fun cognac instead of a brand, or instead of just any given brandy, because
The ombre is it's good, kind of high quality.
Yeah.
Comes from a good region, one of the larger regions.
It comes from a good home. It's got a good job.
Yeah,
It's well aged. It's got a 401k. And then we also didn't have Amaretto on hand, so instead of an almond liqueur, we did hazelnut and went with Frangelico. Frangelico, the liquor that comes in a bottle that isn't Mrs. Butterworth.
And that I think is better than amaretto.
Mm.
It's different,
It is different.
but it's buttery. It's creamy. It's nice. It's delicious.
It's richer, I think, whereas the Amaretto tends to have a tad bit of that twang and the tannin from almonds. And then, of course, we use grenadine, Angostura bitters, and we did have Cointreau on hand. So look at us being ahead of the curve there. This is served in rocks glasses on top of ice because
candied oranges.
with a candy orange garnish. How delightful!
Completely
how delectable!
edible.
James, thoughts, feelings, opinions? What does this cocktail say to you in your heart?
Interesting. I'm wondering if maybe the Frangelico was
Interesting.
not quite not because I don't like it. I do love it. I think it tastes absolutely delicious. But I'm feeling like the almond might have been the flavor profile because hazelnut and almond are not the same.
They are not the same nut. This just in, hazelnut and almonds.
You might not have
the-
realized this because the names are different.
Oh, now macadamias. Where do they fall on the spectrum of hazelnut or almond?
They are neither a hazelnut or an almond.
So macadamias, in fact, are not a hazelnut nor an almond.
I also don't think they're a nut.
Fascinating. Pistachios, nut, fruit, or compound verb.
I think it's a little bit of a little column A, a little column B.
You know what? I got to agree to disagree with you on that one, but that's okay. We will. I made myself chuckle.
You're chuckling over here. I'm censoring myself.
Tell me more about what you
It's
think
nice.
about the.
It's a little sweet. The grenadine is just a splash to give it this kind of nice candy pink color. I think that the Cointreau, of course, is nice. The sweetness, it's a little hint of the citrus, does a lot for this. But I'm really feeling like the almond, the body of amaretto, I think just seems like it would suit this better. But
Okay.
I'm feeling like Frangelica is my new favorite thing. Every time we drink it, I say that and I forget that it's even there because I feel like it'd be amazing even in my coffee, and just like putting it, I don't know, in things, on a cake. Maybe I'll do fruit cake this year. Might.
Ooh, doing a fruitcake soaked in French. It's such a good, just rich, buttery liqueur. I like this drink, but I have to say, when I first took a sip of it, I was like, oh, this doesn't taste like I thought it was going to taste. But it doesn't taste bad. But it doesn't taste
It's because
like much of anything. I kind of feel like none of the flavors are really intense enough, and the citrus really masks some of the twang of the cognac, and the Frangelico just kind of smooths out the sweetness, but there's no real definitive body or characteristic. It's just
I'm telling you, I think amaretto.
it's
comes in a-
generally
Amaretto's a
pleasant.
different type of liqueur. It comes in a bigger bottle for a reason. Right.
It's true.
It's thicker. I think I'm not gonna say it's sweeter. It's just a different flavor.
It's a tad bit syrupier.
It's almost like somebody who works at or promotes this really famous bar that's known for super amazing drinks would know this and pick that when they design the drink. But I don't know. I guess we're over here reinventing the wheel.
Hey, sometimes you got to look at a wheel and be like, spokes? Or,
This guy over here is like, square?
Well, hey, listen.
Tell me you're not Fred Flintstone in that. Tell me that right now, if we couldn't get a car and you were like, let's go, and we had to lift it up and go, you wouldn't love that shit.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I don't hate this cocktail. I don't know if amaretto is necessarily the direction that it's screaming to go to. I kind of think that if you kept here's where I think we went wrong. Cointreau, Frangelico, both sweeteners, and grenadine, sweetener.
But it's very little. I promise you.
I know it's
don't taste
very
any
little.
of it in there, and I think the Cointreau, seriously, the amount that's in there is at being half an ounce, and the Frangelico being a quarter of an ounce. Come on.
I get that. I just think there needs to be one of those three needs to have twang and character. So it maybe instead of Cointreau,
So you're telling me
we do Aperol.
I understand now. You are frustrated with the caucasity of this drink.
The caucasity. It's bland.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bland drink, and I do think the amaretto would give it some characteristic, but I think what I'm picturing here is maybe we don't use cognac either. Maybe we use a little bit funkier of an aged booze.
Oh boy, here we fucking go.
Maybe no, I'm not gonna say the La Venenosa that we're both like. That's for a different time. But maybe if we did something instead of a cognac, like an aged rum with an Aperol instead of Cointreau, but still Frangelico to add like that rich, almost kind of chocolatey, like Nutella's on something. They know that hazelnut and chocolate are pretty indiscernible.
Fuck, that is what it is. There's like a chocolate note in Frangelico as well.
Yeah. Because they get it.
Am I making that up? I'm not, right? There is a chocolatey kind of characteristic to it.
It's just not like a fermented chocolate, kind of like cacao bean.
It's not chocolate the way there's chocolate in it. It's chocolate in the way there's a little bit of there's a little dryness. It's a little sweet, but also is a little not too sweet. It's a little
It's not chocolate the way chocolate is. It's chocolate the way chocolate cake is. You know what I mean?
You just be saying things. Now here's a question.
Yeah.
How does this delicious cocktail tie at all into the theme of our episode?
I'm gonna tell you how it ties into the theme of our episode. Because one of the biggest honors I ever felt in my time working in a catering kitchen was, in fact, that I got to cook family meal for the staff. And when we watched a show that was it was recently unstruck. Now we can that's the thing, we can actually talk about these things now the strikes.
Let's see how long that lasts.
Okay, so I was watching The Bear, and when they were cooking,
Say it faster. I
gotta say it fast.
It's still tentative.
I was watching The Bear, right? And they did a scene where they were cooking family meal for the staff, and I was like, "Oh man, that really brings me back. That's like a really sweet moment." And then like there was this whole like fan craze over just how hot Carmi in The Bear is.
Oh hell yeah!
And like then there was a whole thing about like how other service workers in other shows like White Lotus and Below Decks. That was kind of a weird one.
It's animated, but okay.
No,
I mean I can see Mariner. No, I can see it. Yeah,
not Below Deck. Wait,
no. I agree.
I'm thinking about the reality TV show where they're like they're the staff of like a yacht that it
sounds like White Lotus. But
no,
not a documentary.
It's well, I mean, it's a reality TV show.
Okay,
so
okay.
It's not
Oh. I know what you're talking about. I've never seen it before.
Is it like Man Overboard or something?
I know what you're talking about. I've never seen it before.
You know which one I'm talking. Oh, damn it, I can't remember. But all of these shows seem to like oddly fetishize customer service and food service workers. And the way this relates to the cocktail is, we threw together whatever we had on hand, which is like how you would serve family meal when you were in these kinds of working situations. You just kind of put together what you have available when you have it.
Look at the manager over here. Whatever we had on hand,
being
a pretty decent cognac, to being just on hand. Do you have these things on hand? Can you go into a room and look at a bar and be like, there's nothing here, only because the only thing I'm missing is a soda or some sort of seltzer and or juice? You can just go into a space and effectively just, you're like, oh boy, I can just make whatever I want.
I was like, oh fuck, all we have are some leftover onions, a couple of scallions and stuff, some scallions, onions, garlic, eggs.
Oh boy, only the most delicious things.
Just a tiny bit of duck fat that we did from this whole like.
But how sexy
pastrami.
Were you when you were making the family meal? How hot were you?
Oh, when I tell you I had a slut era, this was that era.
You were like kind of, because you were poor, So you were kind of emaciated.
Mhm.
You're working a lot because you're in the kitchen and it's hot, and so you're sweating a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
you know.
money that I did have didn't go towards like good like meal prepping.
Yeah, you
or
eating
none
some
of that.
junk, drinking some booze, smoking some weed. Like literally, you're subsisting, especially you, off of spliffs,
Oh,
right? Because
uh-huh.
it's killing your appetite, but it's like getting you there. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like and then you're eating, especially you, because once in a while, even back then, once in a while, you're like, I'm gonna roast a chicken.
I'm
But
gonna cook something nice for the
but mostly you're like whatever the thing that was that you would eat kind of consistently. That's just that
yeah.
I don't know. It depends where you're from, because I ate spaghetti every day for a year, except for Fridays where I ate one half a pepperoni pizza. Everybody has a thing. Maybe it was ramen. Maybe it was chicharrones and rice.
See, that's the thing. Mine was scrambles
I
because I still had access to a stove, and I could do like.
so you're in the kitchen sweating, looking all sexy,
"Ah."
making making, and it's so funny because we were talking about this before, and I think it's super interesting because there's the two ways, and I didn't think about this before.
Mhm.
Right, that's what happens when you take like 5 months to make an episode. Right, is
We had the idea for this episode like the week before shit went on strike, and they were like, "Oh, we can't talk about struck work."
there is so much stuff
So much
because
shit.
I completely didn't even realize that there's like there's like a fetishization that happens, but in two ways, right? Because there's like obviously you make the people on TV sexy, right? So like
Yeah,
you
if
make
they're gonna be on TV, they should be sexy.
unless you're making
Or
a show about ethnic people, so then because then you could be like, oh, I could just get regular Korean people, and we'll put them on Netflix and have a show about Korean people.
I was gonna say, or are they sexy because they're on TV? Nah, I
Watch British TV, and I think that I'm sorry. You know. Well, at least ours. I'm sorry, Britain. But the reality is that when and I think that is actually good because look at The Office. I don't know how big of an Office fan you are, right? But if you look at the European version of The Office and the American version, completely different shows. The sardonic satire of the original Office actually oh god, yeah, here I go about The Office. The sardonic the satire continued into the second season of the US version of The Office, because remember the UK version is 2 series. Okay, leave me the fuck alone. But the thing about it is that what the European version is, and this is very true because I don't know if you've seen it, but it's different. It's all the same kind of like tropes, but like the way you look at season 1 and be like, Michael's not funny and this is really offensive. But then in America, like we built a whole story and like try to redeem him or
we
whatever.
gave him story arc.
Those are two different versions of fetishize, because you fetishize, right? One as a service worker,
Yes.
like escaping office space, like you fetishize, like it's like weird. Right?
Wait, like you're saying when you're in an office?
Yeah, you like get off on like the idea of like rebelling.
Oh, and you're like, what if I didn't have to be here?
It's like, what if I didn't?
What if I didn't have
as
health
you sit there
insurance?
and you're typing at your keyboard and you're just like, what was that show? I think it's
Office
Wanted,
Space.
where with the guns and Angelina Jolie
yeah.
and the shooting and the bending bullets
And
and the beginning of the movie, like the guys in the office or whatever, he like smacks shut the lady with the keyboard.
Oh, and Chris Pratt.
Yeah, because the whole thing is like
Magneto beats the shit out of Chris Pratt with a keyboard.
you look at it, right? And you look at you look at it, and it's like, it's weird.
Isn't
because
that the same thing that happens at the beginning of Fight Club too?
and the Matrix,
Oh, where it's like,
because he's
do
literally
you ever just want to escape your
just
life?
want to escape. So this is what fetishization looks like in media, right? It does two things. One, it's strange because they'll do things like Trisha Paytas, who I love, will be like wearing a Pizza Hut uniform, doing mukbangs, dressed up as Pizza Hut, and like the local Pizza Hut lets her in to do a TikTok behind the counter where she pretends to like serve food, and You know, no matter how weird you might think she is, I like Trisha and I think she's pretty. So you got pretty people fucking dressing up like Pizza Hut people, standing behind the fucking counter, like pretending. You know, motherfuckers on TikTok doing like Subway AI where you send them things and they pretend that they're scanning your fucking items, right? Because
What?
the people who have never worked a service job, they think that the service industry is like some sort of fucking everything is it's like you work in a Zara, right? You go into the back to get a dress behind chef. Everybody like people think that like all retail, all sales is like being in a kitchen.
I mean, it is.
You
But,
know,
yeah.
like they so they fetishize it because like they have no money, right? Oh, I'm sorry, they're rich. They're rich as shit. They're fucking living in a mansion. They're fucking fuck regular media. You know, they look and instead of seeing somebody who's like hot, they watch something that's like more down to earth or so down. It doesn't matter because it's showing the people like struggling and stuff, like struggling, and you get to watch it as a privileged person and be like, man, like Rent. It's like, oh, I could do that, like man, or the opposite where you get to like vent, like,
And then you feel represented.
yeah, these first of all, these pores is like either these pores
Mm.
or it's like that's the kind of like I want to be like one of them. In media, you got Bob's Burgers,
Yeah.
right? Do you think Bob's Burgers crazy, right? Do you think that do you think it's any kind of fetishization happening of
Linda, obviously.
of restaurants
Oh.
and or small business, i.e. service work?
Oh. I actually think that it is it's part of the propaganda of the American dream, where like in the initial propaganda to get people to immigrate to America, people be like, oh, you can get like farmland, so it's easy land, you can just have your
That's nice.
yeah.
Go you.
This was the again getting people, not taking people. Part of there. It was the Yeoman farmer ideal trope, and then they had like the whole nuclear family trope, and I think Bob's Burgers kind of falls into the nuclear family trope, but it also adapts itself to be like, yes, this is what a family looks like, but this is what a nuclear family looks like within a community that I guess is a little bit more realistic.
Oh, this is about to turn into Bob's Burgers podcast because I think it's realized. I think that the kind of premise of all of it's like very disingenuous because
Disingenuous.
what you have,
You're gonna all right. Okay.
right?
All right.
Because even though Bob is poor, Bob's landlord is literally a villain in the show, right?
Is he a villain or an anti-hero?
Oh my God.
Or just a red herring?
He's a villain in the show. Right? I mean, he's a villain.
No,
But at the end of the day,
no one is a villain.
no, Mr. Fisher is a fucking villain.
In the show, no.
Think about it. He's always harping. They can never like afford the rent. They're struggling. But Bob loves this restaurant. He's willing to bend everything for this restaurant, for this dream. The fucking character is fetishizing, and like the idea of like meritocracy has gotten into
Independence.
Bob's brain.
He believes he can be the best burger joint. He can make the best.
Because what is
burger.
the show, right? It's like, is it mocking the nuclear family or is it actually reinforcing the nuclear family?
I think it's reinforcing it. I think it's demonstrating how it can be reinforced and reaffirmed in a contemporary community.
My whole fucking brain just broke because you could be poor and own a small business. Like the whole premise of the show is like fucking weird. It's like you could be poor, you can literally be on the verge of homelessness, but you can own a small business.
Well, I mean, only if your kids don't ever grow up. That's the thing. They never have to hire anyone. There's no one. There's no one new working at the Bob's Burgers because their kids are still in middle school, high school.
Think about this: the way the show is set up, right? I feel like I'll be getting a little spicy energy about Bob's Burgers. I'll be fetishizing it. The it's difficult, but you're there with your family working it out together. You know, the it's like 2.5 kids, but it's like 3 kids because they're a little older. So the 2.5 kids would become 3 because Maggie would become an adult, you know? Like
that is how kids do tend to grow.
I look at the
people.
show, they're singing, they're always overcoming, they're always, and this is the good part of the show is that they're loving and supporting, but the restaurant, their existence in the restaurant, the fact that it's always, well, you're pointing something out that is not important. It's whole episodes of the show about the kids being afraid of them losing the restaurant,
yeah.
which is their place of living. And so the kids engage on a B plot or an A plot, depending on the episode.
To blackmail their landlord.
Or to blackmail their landlord or to do something to make money. Whilst the other plot is like Bob pulling his hair out, being fucking stressed and like kind of maybe figuring it out.
But fuck if he isn't hot while he's doing it.
I'm not gonna lie though. God, yeah, Linda, you called it.
But like,
my name is James, and I'm a Linda maniac.
Hi, James. Welcome to the club. We do see these kind of figures in media, and in it's not like anything new, but I do kind of feel like there's been a resurgence. Party Down is another one where it's like relatable content, but people working in a catering service industry in Los Angeles, and they are all trying to make it in the entertainment industry some way or another. And in the process, there's always some bullshit of like drama within the work environment, and it's just a workplace comedy. That's the thing. There's workplace comedies have and always will be. They have there was the time when workplace drama that's what it is.
But why?
Workplace dramedies. There was the medical era, then there was the police era, and now it seems like we're in the customer service era, if not specifically food service and like the event service era. Know what I mean? Or hospitality, I think would be the better overarching theme.
Via the census, as of 2021, the workforce of service operation, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's people who engage in just the service industry. That's specifically like serving food, engaging in direct service, not things like sales, which would be service. But you know how these things go. And it says
retail.
24 million.
24 million people? Or 24 million Americans? The average age in service occupations is 38.4. The average salary. Now, remember, when the average salary is very strange because that's going to be kind of skewed by the top and the bottom.
So it says the average salary is $29.44. $29.44 an hour.
Okay, so that's saying like the most senior members are probably making around $40 an hour.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misread that. $29,000 a year.
Oh, wait, that is a big whoa.
With the average male salary being $36,000, and the average female salary being $23,000.
For just a point of reference, usually like $15 an hour typically kind of comes out to 30,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Absolutely fucking ridiculous. And those are the industries, you know. And they make all these, and it's strange because even in shows like Superstore, right, where it's like obviously it's like the characters work in a fucking superstore, and it's kind of positioned to being like not the greatest because there's like a whole storyline because like the main guy was a lawyer or something happened. He's like a failure, so he ends up there. So he thinks he's better than everybody else. And then there's like people who like that's like their job. You know what I mean? And like the job sucks, but then eventually over the course of the series, well,
but the whole thing is he finds the coworkers endearing.
by the end of the last episode,
paid.
they're like, I don't know, I never fucking saw it, but I already fucking know. They're like bulldozing the fucking building, and they're all standing outside, like holding hands, like looking wistfully and sadly. You know, they're always dream fondly of this place.
Always Sunny. Does that fetishize?
Yes, because that's the thing that's so insidious.
The fact that always the bar, that Patty's Pub in Always Sunny is able to stay afloat is a dream among its
Afloat. Is it on a boat? We're in a boat?
Yeah, it's in the wait, what's the name of the river that goes through Philly? Anyway, it's amazing that place stays in business with how little those characters do. Am I right?
And I know somebody out here is like, "Oh, you're stretching." I know I'm not bugging out. No matter how bad you do, no matter what happens, I know it's fictional. I know that in comedy especially, by the end you have to be back at the status quo, right? That's the whole goal.
Right.
Because the next episode comes, you're gonna kill Kramer. You have to be back. Like South Park, you kill Kenny, you bring him back because Kenny's funny. You need Kenny to be part of the cast, right? Right.
That's true.
Yeah.
Do you know there's a place in Ireland called Kilkenny?
Did you know that in Ireland there's like a gas station chain called Barack Obama?
No way.
They love Barack Obama.
Good for them.
I'm telling you, the fetishization of service workers is so insidious and slick and like weird because you would think that even pieces of media that like make service workers look bad is a different kind of fetishization because we are service workers. So we think like one thing.
That's me.
But it's other people and they're not thinking that's me. They're thinking whenever the person in the show is having a bad time, they're happy. You know how when you're watching a show and like you laugh, nobody else is laughing, right? No. Like everybody's laughing, but that one person is laughing at the wrong thing.
Oh.
There are people out there who look at these shows and they see the bear and they're like,
God,
they love the uncle. How the uncle fucking spoilers for the bear season 2 or season 1.
Wait, the uncle or the cousin?
The uncle, the guy, the guy.
Oh, that one. Okay, yeah.
He like lends him money or something.
Classic.
There's somebody out
Wait,
there.
the dude from the Sons of Anarchy.
Yes. He's like he fucking lends him money or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it's like there are people out there who think they're him.
It's
It's like there are people out there who are like, man, Homelander is the good guy.
Do you really think people are out there thinking Homelander's
Yes.
the good guy? What?
Yes.
He's a baddie. But not in like the fun way. But
you would think so.
So what I think is one of the weird kind of quirks, fetishization parts of the bear, at least, is where they show like he was part of the elite group of chefs, Michelin star rated, working in this, and the pressure, like not the pressure, but just like that job isn't what he wanted. Almost like there's like listen, some people are just kind of only destined to do the dirty work.
Oh my God, that's literally the whole fucking story. Because at the whole second season, he keeps fumbling and fucking up the like business stuff and all the restaurant stuff because the whole story is leading to the point that he's not supposed to be leading the restaurant. Sydney is, and he's supposed to be cooking.
Just
And so,
some people are supposed to be great, and then some people are supposed to be tools for greatness.
and of course that doesn't mean that people who like only cook that they're not amazing or as valued or as worth as much money, because they are, but that's not how it's perceived in media. And that's why it's funny that I never noticed that before, because the whole premise is that like he kind of couldn't make it, but he's like finding his soul and like working in the muck. But the muck is like having a small business and like owning a building, but like owning some equity on it, like.
And that's his grind, and that's like his cross to bear, because, I mean, he was it's the whole like trope of he was so high up and then he slumped down. Like now he's just slumming it with just the.
Did you see season 2?
Oh, I've watched most of it.
Huh?
I've watched most of it.
Well, I'm not spoiling anything
No.
from like the third episode, from like early in the season. I think it's very clear that the whole story, the second season, is that he's like trying to run things and he can't.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And they're like pushing him into like finding satisfaction and like hope and love and like going back to the thing that truly, which is not running the business, which is not saving the business, which is just cooking. Okay.
That seems to be the reoccurring theme in a lot of these shows that feature this kind of work, because take it to Party Down again, where like the overarching theme is it's okay to settle. It's okay to fail upwards. And then you hit your because then it's not about the job. It's about the relationships we make along the way. And it just kind of feels like a platitude. Like, it doesn't feel like, don't worry, you'll still be able to have a decent life because you'll be compensated equitably. It's more like, if you're going to be in this position, it's up to you to make the best of it.
100%.
And that's what feels so fucking scummy about it. Where it's like all the media that's being pushed towards us is people in customer service, food service, and just service industry stuff are at the whim of the elites, and it kind of paints this picture that like is reminiscent of like this propaganda following like the biggest atrocities to indigenous people in America and in both of the Americas, but it's just like this painting a picture of the noble savage, where it's like, look upon in reverence to this great thing that unfortunately has to suffer, and there's nothing we can really do about their suffering, but
that's so wild.
Isn't it so noble and honorable? And they do it without complaining, because, I mean, they're not allowed to complain. And I'm not saying the plight of the service industry is equitable to the genocide of indigenous people. Or like,
I thought you were. I thought that was exactly what you were saying.
But it's just like the rhetoric around it kind of echoes this like, oh no, look how bad we treated them in the past. If only someone will treat them with kindness. Maybe I can. I love them, and now I'm aroused by them because they're exotic.
It's all about mixed messages and manufactured consent. Because, like, obviously the writers of The Bear are not fucking sitting around, I don't think, being like, well, I wonder which way that we... No, they're not doing that, right? What they're doing is that they're just sharing their experiences, their thoughts, but everything is like systemic. We're completely surrounded by two trains of thought. One, which is obviously if you didn't finish college, but really that means even if you did, you know, like, you know, if you don't make $150,000 a year, then you're a failure and you work at McDonald's and McDonald's is for children. Why do you work at McDonald's? You work and
That's
you
a
work
teenager
you
job.
you work at Starbucks. Why are you working at Starbucks? Even though when I worked at Starbucks, almost everybody I worked with was old as fuck. Okay, motherfuckers out here think, and then the other side, so you have what they're demonizing you, but then they're like making shows where showing you happy and stuff like that, and it's like showing you all dancing and stuff, and you're singing with your family.
There's always the happy moments when you have family meal and you make a good sandwich for everyone.
Because isn't that the truth? When you worked in restaurants, right? As I feel like I have, and as many people have, right? The best moments that I had were like when I clocked out so I wouldn't get in trouble, but we stayed to make sure the store was clean for the next day.
Yeah.
And somebody had left me a $50 tip. So I went to the liquor store and I got a bottle of Hennessy. I didn't even like Hennessy, but I knew my coworkers did, so I got it.
It's that kind of camaraderie. And all I'm saying is it wouldn't feel as weird if you just paid them more.
Cake them as hard as you want. Just pay them enough.
Just pay them enough. Pay them enough so that like a $50 tip to buy a bottle of Hennessy doesn't feel like a gift from...
Honestly, that shit was such a fucking wild fucking gift.
Like that feels like something like an ethereal or like a divine intervention of...
And it was given
gifts.
and it's so interesting and so sad and so how like confusing the world is, because like the man who gave me that tip was a customer in the Starbucks who used to order a small cup of coffee in a medium cup. Then he would go into the trash and pour pour out drinks into his cup. And we would always offer to just like give him the bigger size, and he tipped me $100. And I'm just saying that you don't fucking know how fucking poor you are. Okay. And I'm not saying, but when like a person who is displaced, who is unhoused, who's like digging through the trash to save 20 cents is tipping you $100.
Yikes.
When a person who works very hard, like I'm not saying, but like he was there every day because he was obviously struggling.
Mm-hmm.
It was very clear. He was an older man. You know what I mean? We knew his whole little story.
Oh, so he had generational wealth because he's an older man.
Anyway, being in service is hard.
Working in the service industry, I wish it were more rewarding.
So when we first planned this episode, this is a while ago, I put down some notes.
You put down some graphs,
I'm gonna look down, yeah, because I found some stuff, and I actually spoke to some people, and I had like a whole thing in my head. I'm not gonna put these up here. I'm just gonna read them. Oh, I love this. It's like, because I was thinking about the fact that the whole service worker thing, and it's so interesting that it's all about his class.
Oh,
But really, like,
I said, oh, like this was the first time we talked about service work in
I know,
class.
right?
I'm like, oh yeah, it is about class. Yeah. Okay.
But
go on.
race is always like the biggest, but it's insidious. That's the word of the day, kids. Insidious. In which, you think, oh, you work and you like Chandler, let's say you're working at Starbucks, right? And you're like, oh, I work at Starbucks. So it's obviously not a race thing. But like, really, if you look around you, right? Like everybody that's working at Starbucks in New York is like some sort of minority, right? Because motherfuckers is poor. And motherfuckers were in areas where the teachers were mean to you and shit, and they didn't incentivize you to go to school, and or maybe you were a fucking lawyer, right? You were a lawyer and you had anxiety, so you were looking for a job. You never fucking know. But really, there's not a lot of those motherfuckers. That's why when people are so surprised when they go into a restaurant and everybody in the fucking kitchen is like a Hispanic person, it's like a Mexican person. They're like so fucking confused and like so they're like so upset that the food they go to an Ethiopian restaurant is because they have no money and people are willing to give them money. to feed you.
If you have no money and you need money, you will do things necessary to gain money.
Minorities, particularly people of color, are out. They represent a large proportion statistically, because it's not because the numbers are fuzzy in the service industry.
Yeah.
Which is why it is also definitely a thing about race, which is why a lot of the fetishization about service work is also racial fetishization, right? Because then you get like...
That tracks.
I don't know about you, but most of the people that I've dated have been black, and I don't know if you know this, I am a melanated person. And
what?
We've sat around, we've had conversations about the kind of customers who have been like white customers and their conversations with us. You know?
And how do they go?
Well, I'll say that a lot of times it ends in a good tip, but often it's you getting ordered around because you make their drink right. And they'll tip you good. They just got to order you around a bit for like 6 or 7 months.
Wait, for 6 or 7 months?
Because they tip around Christmas.
Okay.
You know? So when you make, you think I fucking forgot your grande extra dry non-fat cappuccino that you would skip the line and make me make your fucking drink out of order?
You hear that, Miriam?
Just
we got your
because-
fucking number.
Just because you would tip kind of well around Christmas. And also, guess fucking what? I hope you're okay. Because I'm a person lover. Anyway, so that's what those fucking graphs were about. There was I had some opinions
About the
But I'm like-
relationship of race to customer service. Because that was another thing that I noticed in White Lotus. that rhymed.
what I noticed in White Lotus. What I noticed in White Lotus.
Yeah. This is talking about how a lot, because it's a resort-based show, people who work at resorts are usually the indigenous people of those resorts, and the people visiting are in fact not, like in Hawaii. Like that's the major one where it's like, hey, why are all the service workers here seem to be like the colonized people?
I mean,
Is it because of the
they need jobs.
because they do need jobs, but like,
Who else is gonna do it? Okay.
but why?
I mean,
but-
if you're the
it's-
think about it. Look, think of the logic. If you're like from not even a far hop. It's a far hop. Let's say you're in fucking the valley, right? You get on a plane, you go to Hawaii, right? I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm trying. You go there, right? And you're going there, and you get off the plane, right? Are you gonna fucking work there?
But why is the hotel manager British?
Duh, because obviously they're smarter. Duh. No, because it's fucked up, okay? Because it's fucked up. Because what they'll do is definitely is that, like, you know, the person that they consider to be of value, they'll fucking fly somebody out. They even fucking house them. You know, the motherfuckers who live on the island are fucking starving, and they fucking like spend however many money to fucking house some fucking British dude. And by the way, you're right. It's always like a British.
It's always
It's always like a British person.
It's always
or-
one of them fucking
French.
British.
Well, you know.
Or
But you know, the French.
Who am I?
Oh.
I'm Jim. We've been working together for 12 years.
that was not the right button. That was not the right button. Problematic.
There you go. Problematic.
Problematic. So race, customer service, food service, food serving customers, customers serving food service.
I want to talk mentally about talking about media again. It's so weird. It was so interesting because I feel like it's a thing that we did a lot, and then we just stopped.
Yeah.
And now doing it again, it's like I don't have my media muscles up there. I'm not out
I
here.
haven't had my finger on the pulse.
I used to be out there referencing stuff. You'd be out here being like,
So, you seen The Bachelor Golden Years? Turns out, even when you have a pacemaker, your heart still works.
wow. Have you seen Love is Blind season 2? Because nothing is better. I've never seen the show, so I'm assuming the way Netflix works, the people in the show are blind. Are they not?
They're not.
Are they not blind?
They're not people
Okay.
with
Do I feel like? Why do I feel like it's ableist to name the show that?
So the thing is they just talk to each other.
But what about blind people? No, it is ableist because that's just how a blind person would just exist. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, all right. Okay, you got me there. Okay. Yeah, word. All right.
That they're just
Okay.
like they're literally just wait. I feel like now I'm producing
you-
the show.
are you
In
meaning to
season
tell-
2,
are you-
I'm producing the show. I'm the woke guy. All right.
Are you saying
You gotta
blind
have
people
one-
can't be shallow?
I say that they can, but only when they're diversity higher. Season 3, we're gonna have one blind contestant.
Mm.
Season 9, we're gonna have a blind the person that actually,
Season 9, everyone's going to be blind except for one contestant.
oh god, I cannot fucking imagine living in this world as a fucking like literally I will be disabled one day. We all will be because that's just because we are we will all fall apart one day
Or we die.
or we die. But I'll definitely fucking say I cannot imagine like suffering in this existence. I'm already black, but I cannot imagine just like walking around and people were like, it's like walk up to you, it's like, hey, you want to go for a walk? Like motherfuckers, like literally, like we live in such an ableist society, okay, that my ex was in a wheelchair and people, I don't know if it still happens to her, would walk up to her and just try to push her across the street. Okay, I could not imagine if I was just chilling, waiting for the light to turn red, and a fucking stranger just started pushing me across the street. People just start fucking taking your hand, trying to lead you, like you don't fucking know what you're doing. Okay, fucking they have that show on Netflix where they take people with some sort of disability. Is it they're autistic? What?
Are you talking about Love on the Spectrum?
Oh yeah, Love on the Spectrum. Yeah. That's not exploitative. That's not exploitative at all. That's not fuck. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
They are finding love,
Some of the
goddammit.
some of the contestants came out and they were like, "Wow, they made us look like we really didn't know how to interact when we interacted normally, but they didn't like it, so they cut it up." Oh boy, it's reality TV. Like that shit is fucking. Can you fucking imagine? And it's been so long since I talked about media. I have it all bubbling inside of me.
It's been brewing.
We haven't talked about it in so long. Marvel was still kind of alive.
Marvel?
Yeah.
Oh.
How long has it been?
It's been at least a decade.
This is like an addendum. Okay. How long has it been?
Addendum? I hardly knew him.
How long has it been since the strike has happened? It's been 5 or 6 months.
I want to say it started in May?
That's
June?
a long fucking time.
It's been a while. To quote that one band, it's been a while.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
Stained, right?
Stained. It is stained.
Yeah.
I just had to hear it out loud. I was like, it's okay. It is
Since
stained.
I could.
Hold my
To be honest,
hand up high.
I was thinking it, and so you sang it, so I had to say the band.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. How you doing, Chandler? That's it.
Do we
That's it.
have any more to say on the
did-
topic?
see,
of,
I feel like here's the thing. Like a lot of things, I feel like we have to revisit it in another form. I feel like maybe might have had too.
I'm gonna be okay. So then it comes back to wait: are we wrong for fetishizing customer service workers? Because anytime I was working in customer service, I was at my sluttiest.
But I'm about to say, have you seen you? God, when he was working, he's the hair long, the beard trim, out here fucking. I'm not
I was
gonna lie,
wearing deep V's,
I do that at work
deep
too.
V-neck.
You be shooting quips.
It's
You
just
know?
like you're playing a character. You have your whole work persona on.
Come on, tell me that you haven't, you're sitting there, you run to a customer, it's a little slow. They come in, they're having a little conversation. I had a woman smell my fucking beard. I had a woman literally like
Oh,
put
you've
her
been using those beard
nose
oils.
to putting her nose to my fucking. I didn't even ask. Okay, she didn't even ask for consent.
You didn't even ask.
I didn't even ask. She was just like, can I smell? She was like, can I smell you?
She didn't even get the full question out before she got in there.
I am and have been a service worker, okay? Now, I'm literally at the bottom. They put me back. I literally don't do anything. I just stand there because I get paid more than everybody, but I don't have any access to any systems. So I just stand there. By the way, I don't make that much. That's how little they make. And I just stand there and I do nothing. I text.
And you make content.
I can't right
Oh,
now.
because you're in the store. Well,
But I still be doing stuff. I be editing.
okay. Word. I would try to do that work from home bullshit for a little bit, and I think I got to go back.
Oh boy.
I think I got to. We're slutting it up again.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Here I go,
Yeah.
looking sexy again.
Here you go, slutting it up again.
Guess I gotta just go back to line cook. That was the other.
When the guns come out, that's a problem. When the guns come out, that's a problem.
It's really just I don't eat a lot when I'm on shift, and I think that gets to me. I don't know if that's a problem, because then
But you're at your hottest.
But I'm at
You're in a bad mood.
But
but-
I'm just so sexy.
You're so sexy.
Just it's like, how angry does pretty feel, right?
We're okay. That's it. It's time. We've been going. I feel. Oh fuck! That's not the right song.
That's a good closeout one. Thanks for listening to us. This has been an episode on the fetishization of retail, customer service, and food service workers.
I'm just pressing buttons.
We were featuring the remix on a Mikado cocktail.
Sometimes, mostly ours are better. I'm sorry, not this time.
Keep abreast with all of our work, because we'll be featuring some new other inventive cocktails. Some of them work, some of them don't. But at the end of this fun, delicious rainbow, we will have a collection of cocktails that, like a catalog, if you will.
Don't forget, of course, we are going to be posting a special episode on Monday.
Special episode.
And we're not going to be around next Friday because it's Thanksgiving.
Well, Thursday's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but oh my God.
Do you mean the Fall Harvest Festival?
Fucking Indigenous Peoples Day. I'm sorry.
That was
Part 2.
Yeah.
Native Peoples Day.
Yeah, I like that one. That one rips, dude. My name's
Look at you. You can't even see yourself right now. If you could see yourself.
If I could see myself, I would be enamored. My name's been Chandler Phillips.
I'm James Beery.
Drinking is not required,
But it is
recommended.
I feel like I might have had like a